So we do it with the Ruby injection. Again, we use the variable that we used before, and we call it we give it let's create a text field. Okay, so text field, and that text field will be for an attribute of our drink. So our drink has name. Okay, and we can create another field. And that will be text field as well, and that's going to be for the size. All right, it's a good practice to also give labels to all our input fields. So let me put the label as well. So think about all those people, like even if you're not intending to show the label, you can hide it, but it's important so it's there for the people with disabilities that would use a screen reader device, and it will tell them what inputs they actually are working with. So F label, that's going to be for a name, and we're going to have a label for the size as well, and that's going to basically put the name above our field. Okay, so let's also break the lines here. We don't use any special styles, so let's use this HTML. So make sure everything is in a separate line, just like that. And right now we should be able to actually see the result of our work. So I'll go back here and let's slash drinks slash new. We're gonna create all those links so we can go back and forth. But right now, let's just type it directly. We probably want to start our application before we go and try to open the page. So Rails as if you didn't start your application yet. Great, and if I refresh, that should show me the form. Okay, so we can now put some content here. Okay, and size is 10 liters. All right, so I don't have a button yet, so I cannot really submit this form. So let's go and fix that and add a button. Okay, and we use exactly same syntax. So f.submit will create a button. Submit, like that. And we can also pass a custom wording on the button. So let me reload this. So you see we can create a drink, and this name create drink is being put automatically by Rails, but we can of course change that and just call it save, for instance. And you see now the button says save. So very simple form. Okay, so let's put some content in here and see what happens if we try to submit the form. So big gulp, 1 liter. It's very big, and then we go save, and what we get is the missing template because we have a create action in the controller, and the create action is there, so we don't get the error about the lacking action. But Rails by default wants to do is create action, create our new drink, and will send all the parameters from the form to the create action by default. That's why we created action and we called it create. Okay, we could technically call it some other way, but then we would have to tell our form to go to a different action. By default, Rails will try to submit to the create action if there is one. So this needs to be fixed by handling the create action and redirecting somewhere else. So if we go back to the drinks controller, we'll see that we put the note here that we don't use the special template for create action, but we will save and redirect. So what we can do here is create new instance of the drink. But before we do that, we need to tell Rails what is safe to be processed. What kind of data can our form send us? So we define it here on the bottom of the controller, just immediately before the final end. And we define it as a private method. So private, and here we're going to define allowed params. Okay, just make sure we all immediately close it and define the allow params. In here, don't really try to overthink this. This is just the way this is done. And right now, I mean, as funny as it may sound, you don't really need to understand it. Just do it this way. So params dot require. Okay, and we're gonna require the name of our that's gonna be passed inside of our form, and the part of the parameters is the actual drink parameters. So drink, and we're gonna permit certain attributes. So we're gonna permit name and the size. So only those two will be accepted by our controller. If somebody wants to hack our application and send some other attributes, our application by default will ignore them. So here in the create action, we're gonna create our new drink. So we call add drink equals drink dot new, and here we're gonna actually pass arguments to build that new drink. So here in the new action we created completely empty drink, and here we're gonna use those allowed params to build an actual drink. And here we're gonna attempt to save it. Okay, so if add drink dot save, so if that's successful, we're gonna redirect to drinks path, which is the address for the index action basically. And if it's not successful, maybe the drink didn't pass some conditions, maybe the name is too big or whatever rules we set, then we're gonna render new action again. So if for whatever reason we were not successful at creating, then we will go back to the new action and we can try again, you know. So end. And that's pretty much it for the create action. And let's see if it works. So go back, give it some name. Okay, as 1 liter. And if we go create, great. So now we are actually on the index page, but index page is not showing anything. Okay, it's blank. So let's fix that. Let's create this list of all drinks that we have. So go back here and on the index action. Oh, actually go back to the controller. Let's query the database. Okay, let's take this variable and call it drinks. And just like we did before, we're gonna query the whole class. So drink dot all, and so we take all the drinks from the database, we put it in this variable, and here we're gonna render that using our loop. So add drinks add drinks each do let's call it our drink. Okay. And it's here. Let's just iterate through all of the drinks that we have and put in the p tag. And right here. So drink dot name. And we also gonna say dot size. Okay, and we're gonna say name. And here size. Okay, now if we save this and go back and refresh our blank page, now you can see that we have a first drink. It's called Big Gulp, and there is a size of 1 liter. All right, the next thing we probably want to do is to edit. Maybe we want to change the size, or we change the name. So the next logical step would be go to the edit page. So in let's first of all, in our index, let's put the link to that edit page. So here we can put this little pipe and let's create a link to the edit page, although this edit page doesn't do anything yet. So link to, that's the syntax of Ruby to create link, edit, and here we'll pass the address, and the address is edit drink path, and here we will pass this drink from here. Okay, so we know which drink are we going to edit, because every drink will have its own edit page. And if you're in doubt where this comes from, okay, it's if you go back to our application folder and you run rake routes, then you will see that there is this new drink, and we just add underscore path. So new drink path, and that will take us to new drinks, and we have edit drink path, which will take us to edit page. The thing is, the edit actually takes an argument right here. It requires passing an ID, whereas new doesn't. So this ID is the ID of the drink that we're trying to edit. That's why in parentheses here, we need to pass the ID of the drink that comes from the controller. Okay, so if we save this and go back and refresh our page, we'll see that there is a little link. And if we click on that link, we go to the edit page. Okay, as you can see from the URL, and the edit page is still blank. So let's fix that real quick. If we go back to our controller, first of all, we need to, just like we did for the new action, we create this new instance of a drink class. What we're gonna do for the edit action, we're gonna actually find, using an ID, we're gonna find that drink in the database. So add drink equals drink class find params ID. So this will really come from the URL right here. So you see our link injected this number 1. It's actually an ID of the drink that we created. Its ID is number 1 because it's the first one we ever created. And we use that ID here to find it in the database by ID. Great. So we can now go back to the new page and we can copy this exactly as it is and go here and paste it and save it. So now the form, we use the same, the variables called the same, so we can really copy paste the whole code. And there is a way to, of course, extract it to more portable form, but right now copy and pasting is enough. So if we save this and go back to our edit page and you refresh, now you see that there is a form, but it's already filled out. So there is an existing information already here. So if I try to change it, say again, for example, I'm going to change the name to a capital letter, and if I try to update the drink, I get the same error as we got before because update action is really not doing anything yet. So let's go and fix that. If we go to a drinks controller, we look at the update action. Update action is going to look very similar as our create action. The main difference is that we're going to have to find the drink, okay? And this line is exactly the line that we need to find the drink by ID from the form. And then this is going to be very similar because the only difference is that here we don't try to save, but we want to update attributes. Okay, and using those allowed params that we defined before. And that's it. That's really all it is. So if we go back to Safari or the browser that you're using, and I try to change the name, and maybe there is a 10 liter, it's actually going to be extremely large drink, and I try to update that. Oh, again, sorry, I do apologize for that. Those typos happen to me quite often. So of course it's attributes, not attributes. So let me fix that. And I don't know if resubmitting will work. Probably didn't. So let me go up and change to 10 liters. Okay, and update the drink. Great. So that updated our drink and took us to the index action. And we have our big gulp. How about we also, in the index action, we also put the link to the new, so we can create new drink. So go back here, index, and above the whole list, let's put the link. So link to create new drink, or maybe add drink. Okay, and that's gonna go to new drink path. Okay, and again, that comes from here, new drink path. Okay, save that and refresh. See, I can now add new drink. Cola, size 1 liter. Okay, and then I can also add Pepsi, so okay, 1 liter. Okay, now I have 3 drinks in my database. What about I want to remove something from the database? Well, that's very, very simple. Let's just add link, and that link will do all the deletion for us. Okay, so in here, after we have our link to edit, okay, we're gonna add another link to delete. Okay, so we just say link to, and let's call it delete. First, we need to pass what we're gonna delete. So we just use this variable again, okay, meaning that's a drink from this list. So copy this here, and the method for the submission of this link will be delete. Okay, so not destroy. The protocol, like this is the type of the submission is called delete, but the Rails will map it to destroy action. So now if we go save everything, make sure you always save everything, go back here and we refresh, we see this delete link. And if we click the link, you can try, it will crash your application because, again, delete action or destroy action doesn't really do anything yet. So let's make it delete the record. So we have to go back to controller and look at our destroy action. And just as before, we're gonna have to find the drink. So I can copy this line from here. Rails will do all the heavy lifting for us. So match the IDs, etc., etc. And we have to call destroy on our model. So drink destroy. And after we're done, we have to redirect because we don't have on template. So redirect to, and let's redirect it to the index path, which is basically drinks underscore path. If we save this and go back here and refresh our index page, if we now delete big gulp, it's gone. That's it. So just to summarize, we just created a whole user interface to add new drinks. Oh, sorry, there is one more thing that we didn't do. We didn't do the show action. So if I click on Coca-Cola, I want to go to a separate page for that drink. So let's just very quickly do that as well. So if you go to the index page, let's turn this drink name into a link to the profile. We do it simply by changing it with link to, and we leave this drink name, so that's gonna appear on the name on the link, comma, and we add the path to that profile. So that's a drink path, and we have to pass an attribute of the ID of this drink. Maybe we can really pass the whole object just like that, just like we do in the delete or edit path. So here is a drink path, And again, if you wonder where does it come from, it comes exactly from here. This is drink path, and it goes to nothing else but the show action. So let's save that. So this is the new link. Okay, and if we go back and refresh the page, you can click on Coca-Cola and it takes us to the show page. And the show page is really nothing special, but we can make it work nicely. So go show html.erb. And we can put some HTML. Again, we need to define what the variable is. So we're going to use this variable. Let's call it at user. Oh, sorry, drink dot name. Okay, so before this works, we need to define this drink variable in the controller. So if we go to show action, okay, we can actually copy this line here. Drink equals drink find, because again we have this ID, and we just put it right here. So now if we go here and we save this, okay, let's actually put this in the H1 tags so it's bold and we can actually see that this is a different page. So save this and go back to the browser and refresh the page. Great. Coca-Cola, that's the name of the drink, and let's put the link back to the index right here. So the index would be link to go back, and that would take us to the index, which is the drinks path. Okay, not drink but drinks, and that's by default going to the index. So save this, refresh, and you have this link. Go back. If I click it, I'll go back to our list. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope that clarified a little bit. If not, please comment and I'll try to explain in greater detail. So thank you, and see you in another video.